So the first letter that your attorney is going to send to your probation officer is after their meeting and before your pre-sentence interview. And so with that in mind, thank you very much and for tuning into my video series, You're Indicted and Facing Prison Now What? My name is Mark Blattstein, and in 2006, I too was convicted of a felony where I lost my medical license. To call this a life-altering event for each of us at best is an understatement. With work, though, I was able to get my license to practice back reinstated in full. And so the lesson or my takeaway here is that prison is going to be temporary. It may be painful to a degree, but it's going to be temporary. And so it may seem premature, but in addition to everything else you're learning, you're also going to learn that you want to have your release plan or a plan as to what you're going to do after release to not come back into your judge's courtroom again before your pre-sentence interview. My goal here is to provide you with the information that you're going to need to survive these challenging times. That's because knowledge and preparation together are going to help build back the confidence you'll need throughout this process. Since you heard the Department of Justice and the FBI have been asking questions, and please know that their case against you is mostly complete and that they have a 95, 98% conviction rate. So delaying to take the next step, which is identifying an attorney for yourself, is at your peril. Hiring a legal team doesn't mean that they have to have experience, which is important, but they should also be able to show a proven track record of successfully defending cases like yours. And that part is important, in addition to being a good fit for you, because if they're not a good fit for you, then that may handicap your ability to get the best possible outcome. The choices that you're going to make today are going to help you tomorrow. Nate, this is your life and your future. So after your first meeting with the probation officer, and that is your attorney, they're going to follow up with a letter that humanizes you, their client, to the officer and to the court, but to the officer just laying the groundwork while I'll be advocating for the defense tactics that they're going to use. They're also going to they're going to get from the probation officer a list of the documents that they're going to need and by what date will be, do they want everything back completed? What is the date for their final pre-sentence report dictation? And then the objections, when is that going to be due? What dates are going to be best for your pre-sentence interview? You're hoping that you can have at least 3 months, if not longer, to prepare for your pre-sentence interview, because a lot of that time is going to be writing a well-written narrative or providing your story or autobiography to the judge. Why is that important? Well, to date, your story or your autobiography has been provided by the Department of Justice at no charge to you, to the world, through the internet. It's called your indictment. And if you're not comfortable with how it defines you, then your only way to change that is by preparing a well-written, well thought out, well introspective personal narrative where you accept responsibility, have remorse for the victims that you've harmed, and includes everything that has happened to you from childhood through to today. Then your attorney is also going to rehash with the probation officer sentencing guideline calculations, or any restitution forfeitures, so supervised release, specifically if these are complex cases with multiple counts, various guidelines and calculations, and possibly supervised release can be taken off the table. Not likely, but possible, with detailed explanations, preferably in person, that are easy to understand and will likely be appreciated by the officer. So they take the time to get to meet them, schmooze a little, and also help explain all of the charges and their implications regarding the guidelines so that the probation officer has a better understanding of their job and responsibility. If you're already at this point and don't have the time to wait for my future videos, then give me a call and we can discuss your situation one-on-one. Once again, my phone number, 240-888-7778. If you feel that enhancements are on the table, bring this up with reasons why they may not apply to the probation officer. In turn, if it does apply, then admit it and say so. Your attorney is going to present the defense's version of what happened. And to do this, they're going to need all the information that they can from you, as well as from the prosecutor. And when getting the information from you, this is where a well-written personal narrative and release plan can become strategically very helpful. It can also include parts of the allocution, which is your conversation with the judge that can be attached along with the release plan. And quite frankly, if you think that you're going to be nervous, you can include the personal narrative, release plan, and allocution in a separate letter to the probation officer to be included in the pre-sentence report, which is considered under seal. Your attorney can also mention salient points from several of the character reference letters and attach those. And so what I mean here is that if you get a lot of character reference letters, first of all, they have to be letters regarding your character. Second, you and your attorney can pick out several that are great letters and that will be attached to the pre-sentence report. And at the same time, the rest that, if they're similar, can be at the time of the interview or when you're sending all the information over for the pre-sentence interview to present them at that point in a large organized packet so that the probation officer can attach them, for example, as Appendix A, character reference letters, numbers 4 through 20, or however many there are. If your attorney feels that a mental health evaluation is needed, get it. Most individuals have some sort of mental health issue that goes undiagnosed. And therefore, with the slightest doubt, they should have you evaluated. And don't argue with that because it could help you in sentencing. On the flip side, upon review of the report, if you and your attorney feel it's not necessary, then it's not included. All medications should be included. This is not a trick question. So make sure that you have provided all of the medications in your personal narrative, everything you're taking, and anxiety medications. If there's an underlying condition, this is your future. You want to make sure, one, that the medications you're on, be it for blood pressure or anxiety, or a cancer type diagnosis, are available from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And second of all, you want to make sure that they are presented and included in the pre-sentence report. If there's an underlying condition, you need to get a complete copy of all your medical records. I mean, this includes all the doctors that are treating you, their contact information, name, phone number, website, address, copies of the records, surgeries, copies of all surgery reports. If there's pathology, copies of all the pathology, blood tests, all blood tests for the last several years. Any diagnostic type tests, MRI, CT, PET scans, ultrasounds, X-rays, EKG, EEG, whatever you've had, you want to get copies of those reports, plus see if you can get them on a CD or, better yet, a flash drive. Again, whether you use this information is between you and counsel, but you don't want to not have it. The medication, if the medication's contributed, let's say it's legal or illegal, alcohol, and if it was contributed to your charge and it was taken within 12 months prior to your arrest, this could qualify you for a drug program that may get you out of prison up to 1 year early. Include everything in your personal narrative. In addition to all of the documentation regarding your childhood, your early teen years, if you went to college, if you worked, dated, good student, not good student, whatever transpired that brought you to where you broke the law, everything needs to be in there, and it needs to be, the truth. But you can also include, to try and humanize you to the court, color pictures of you, your family, the kids, whatever you can include as a color photograph in the personal narrative can only be helpful. Should you choose to make a video, videos can be up to 10 minutes long, are very impactful, and you can use a smartphone for at minimal charge, or you could have it professionally done up to $20,000 to $30,000. Counsel at the first meeting with the officer was going to make sure that the officer understands the case and their defense or their position on your guilt. That personal connection can significantly impact in a positive way when the probation officer makes that crucial decision as to the length of sentence and where you go, and pass that on to the judge. If you choose to go to trial and you lose, most don't despair. But what you don't want to do is alienate or get the court mad at you. It's just not smart. Sam Bankman-Fried did, and eventually they locked him up. Former President Donald Trump did, and for some reason he's getting a better deal. But by scheduling this personal meeting with probation officer before you actually meet for the interview, there the attorney can present your case, interpretation, and make the compelling argument. Hopefully it's done before the probation officer spoke to the prosecutor, because if it's after, the probation officer may have a feeling as to how they're going to think about you. But if that prosecutor's already met you, they will have those same thoughts. They just may not be of benefit to you. Remember that probation officers are often overwhelmed with their workload. They're tired. They don't have time. So it's important to accommodate their schedule and document requests. To engage my services or have your concerns answered, please call me today at 240-888-7778. This is my own personal cell, and I answer and return all calls. You can get additional information through my website at PPRSUS.com, P as in Paul, R as in Robert, S as in Sam, US.com, or Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, and have a safe day.